Almost ready, folks. Almost ready. What's up, Laughley on Twitch? How you doing, man? All right. Let me switch cams over here. What's up, everyone? Hope you're all doing well. Good to see you. I'm just getting my articles lined up. What's up, D Daver? How you doing? This one's I'm probably going to be on a bit of a longer stream today. I still hope I can keep it to an hour, but I highly doubt it. Yeah, early one. Yeah, that's why I was just saying. Starting a little bit early because this might run a bit over time. I just have way too many articles to go over, way too much information, and things are quickly spiraling out of control. We are indeed circling the drain, so to speak. Okay, I think I'm all set up. I have my... You can see you guys off to the side so I can focus on my stuff. All right. Okay, let me do my usual intro. Hello, everybody. I appreciate everybody who's watching here on all the different platforms. YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Kick, X, whatever it is. Thank you for popping on and watching. I appreciate all the support. And wherever you're watching from and whatever you're up to, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a better day than I'm having today. I've got my coffee ready, and I'm ready to share the depressing state of technology with you. I hope you're all ready for it. It's bad. Now, I thought what I would do is I would start with a video. If you are hiding under a rock, then you probably don't know what's going on with this thing called Google Veo, V-E-O. And it is an AI video generating service. Now, video generation with AI, we've seen it in the past. It's not new. The thing about Veo that seems to be capturing people's attention is how much of a jump it apparently is from previous iterations. So I thought just to kind of open us up here, I would play the compilation of a series of videos that Veo has generated, and I'll let you be the judge on how good it is or how bad it is. So I'm going to attempt to do this on the fly. I was not prepared to, I haven't tested my video screen share. Let me switch over to, so we'll go like that. And then I'll turn on the desktop audio. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the volume a little bit low. I'm going to give it a test, and then we're going to play this. It's a few minutes, and you guys can judge for yourselves, okay? Let's give this a shot.
Okay, so Riz is basically short for charisma.
Got it.
And that's a verb as well.
I can't believe this VO3 thing can do dialogue now.
Ah! A talking muffin!
Welcome to a non-existent car show. Let's see some opinions.
I mean,
Man, the acceleration is crazy. You look far, step on the pedal, and you are there.
I feel safe with him in an SUV, and it seems to be like the right type of car for him.
I think the range is only going to get better. Sorry.
We don't want to drive gas cars anymore.
Yeah, no more gas cars.
You can see I'm kind of a misfit here, but don't tell anyone. I've just bought an electric car.
Hey, sure.
Oh my god. Yes! Woo! Victory Royale with a pickaxe!
So I went to the zoo the other day, and all they had was one dog. It was a Shih Tzu.
Do you think we are in Veo 3?
If you cannot tell, does it matter?
Cheddar, Swiss, Gouda, Brie, they can all agree cheese is the best thing for you and for me.
Space has got perils, unknown dangers, better beware. My line of work, potential for disaster, gotta take care.
Okay, so this is how you start. You find a tree, and you just like, punch it down.
Ah, c'est beau la vie.
Tired of being alive? Have you ever wanted to feel a completely different level of suffering?
It is absolutely impossible to think in this noise.
Now this takes some elbow grease.
Hey! Watch it, lady. I'm trying to rise here.
We're gonna light up the sky.
Yo, check my neck.
I'm the giraffe, yo, and I am so tall.
You're just a round, dumpy little ball.
Well, fuck. I forgot my Starship keys on Earth.
Now we are going to boil water and cook the pasta. Try not to burn this, okay?
This is raw. Do you hear me? Raw, raw.
So this is how VO3 was made.
Come sing and play with us in our little home forever.
According to this old sea chart, the Lost Island isn't myth. We must prepare an expedition immediately.
Where were you on the night of the bubble bath?
The microfilm is in your ticket.
They're watching the north exit. Use the service tunnel.
I'm one with nature now.
Nature would prefer some personal space.
This ocean, it's a force, a wild, untamed might. And she commands your awe with every breaking light.
So, look, there's a reason I'm wearing the Goomba hat. I'm actually at a loss for words. I've been racking my brain all morning trying to figure out what I should say about this. And it's difficult for me to form an opinion that doesn't lean to the this is better, but not what everybody thinks it is side. And there are a ton of things that I can still bring up. There are issues with this. Let's assume for a moment that you can... Okay, let's assume for a moment that you can generate even higher quality videos than this, right? Let's say that this is quality. We're all in agreement. It's quality, magic button, and we could even do better. First of all, what would be the context window of a 1-hour movie with a running storyline that needs to be consistent, with actors that need to have consistency between takes or between scenes, with dialogues that have to have character consistency, with animations and scenes that also need to have some level of consistency? What would be the context window that you would need? And the context window is what powers a lot of these AI systems to retain context. So if you're going to create even an hour-long movie to rival that of Hollywood, could you hit on some points? Yes. But could you even generate that in the first place? Let's say that you could. Let's say that the context window problem is a solved problem. The context windows can be large enough to create an hour-long video. Okay. What would be the power usage consumption on that? Or how about the cost for the hardware that would be required to keep that there, or the tokens you'd have to pay to keep that running? What would be the cost of editing? So now let's say that you could do it and you could bear the cost of an initial 1-hour video. Are you going to get a good output on your first try? No. So you're going to need to edit, and you're going to need to slice things up, and then you're going to need to regenerate those things. So now you have a cumulative cost. What's the cost? What's the cost for all of that? And that's not to mention that even in these videos, certain things were not very good. I think if I let me go back to, where was it? It actually it's a self IDing. I just want you to read the subtitles as generated by the AI system. This is a self-IDing, it's a self-report by the AI system, which is to say that it itself cannot even generate the subtitles properly for the thing that it made the video do. Sergeant, those captions look like they're written by the average American. Yeah. 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 I don't. This does not instill some great sense of achievement to me by the AI systems, beyond just that it got a bit smarter about the way that it pieced together existing content and reshuffled it around so that it could create whatever in 10, 15 seconds at a time. So, I mean, that's what this is. And if you think about what it actually has to achieve, all it really has to achieve is image manipulation such that it generally hits the mark on what you're prompting it to do. That's essentially about it. And I can agree that it's better than it was, but I cannot agree that this is some fantastic, like, oh, Hollywood's done, it's over. I can actually agree that this could be used for some pretty nefarious things. I just want you to imagine, if you're a regular viewer of the Daily Tech news streams, imagine what you could do with VO if you had jailbreak prompting techniques, which I think I might have an article today about it. We've already covered a few, like just use binary code to give it a prompt, use leet speak to give it a prompt, and it will let go of its guardrails, etc. And now imagine that you're trying to generate some images because you would like to, say, fraudulently, take advantage of certain things. What's up, Sergeant on Twitch? What's up, Lightspeed? What's up, Unholy Diver? Good to see you. What's up, Pierre Coin? Good to see you. What's up, Ray on YouTube? Good to see you. So I'm not as excited about the future of this as others seem to be on social media. It's what I see a lot of, and to that end, well, as another point, let's move on to our next article. Let me pull it up here. I'm just going to this is so ridiculous that I'm just going to pull up the title and just let it marinate with you. Here we go. I know this is going to seem like a joke, but it's not a joke. So, Sergeant on Twitch makes a good point that I agree with. On the one hand, this is beyond stupid. On the other hand, if you're going to replace anybody with AI, let it be the CEOs. Okay, that's just my personal opinion. So apparently, Klarna and Zoom's CEO used an AI avatar on their quarterly calls so that they could give out their earnings, their financial statements for the quarter of the year. and they're quite happy about that. Here's the good news. Zoom said it's making the custom avatar add-on feature available to all users this week. So if you would like to feel like a CEO, congratulations, you're going to get the same tool. You're going to be able to use Zoom and generate yourself an AI. And do you guys remember? I just want to point out. So on this picture, you can see it's so frustrating. I'm so frustrated. You can see on the top right. It's difficult for me to. Well, let me see if I can actually zoom in here. I think I can if I. Yeah, here we go. So right here, you see that? Created with Zoom AI Companion. On a previous Daily Tech News stream, we went over an article where nefarious actors would initiate Zoom calls for things like interviews or whatever, and they would purposefully name themselves something different when they entered the call on Zoom. And they would literally name themselves like Zoom. They would give themselves just the title Zoom when they entered the call. And then they would say something like, if you share your screen. No, actually, they were saying Zoom wants you to share your screen or something like that. It was essentially they were naming themselves such that when you looked at the interface on Zoom, it looked like Zoom was asking you to initiate a screen share or share other information through its buttons because the name matched what you would expect to see when you're hovering over the button. And some people fell for it, and then, bad things ensued. All this is going to do is further that kind of idiocy. And people are just going to continue to, first of all, come to some form of acceptance that this is just de facto the way it is now, and also fall prey to tactics that use these things because they're going to think that it's built in, it's baked into the system. There's no way this can go wrong, right? Now, if you thought that was bad, hang on to the end of the stream. Hang on to the end. I'm going to end. Well, I'm going to end on something that I personally have been arguing for a long time and is now becoming too much of a reality. So, what's up, D on X? Good to see you. All right, let's get to the next article, okay? We'll just truck along here. Banking update glitch allowed users to view each other's accounts. What? Do you see this? You guys seeing this? Since when did I... What? Scan in progress. Are you guys watching this? I'm getting hacked in real time. I'm being hacked in real time. The fans are spinning. If the stream drops, it's because I went to this stupid website. The fans are literally spinning right now. I'm not joking. They just look. Okay, let me see if I can close this. Hang on. Hang on. Can I do this? All right, here we go. Banking update glitch allowed users to view each other's bank accounts, all right? Oh no, it's doing it again. No. It's not going to let me. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. I should have just done this from the start, but... Getting hacked in real time. Incredible. All right, I'm gonna do. Might as well do this one too, just in case, because it's from the same website. We're gonna do this live. Okay, so then let's skip over. All right, we're gonna skip over to this one while that runs. Yeah, hacksters are watching the stream. All right, let's skip over to this one. We'll get back to the other two. OpenAI wants to build a subscription for something like an AI OS with SDKs and APIs and surfaces. There's no master plan, but imagines custom models built on everything you've ever said or read. And this comes in line with the news that he hired, I believe it was John Ive or John Ivy or something, somebody who did some of the iOS or Apple, whatever it is, devices. I believe. So Sam is hoping that there's going to be a product that's akin to a subscription operating system, but for AI, and models that ingest every experience you have in your life. This was during a Q&A session only a few days ago. We want to be people's core AI subscription. Some of that will be like what you do inside of Geppetto, but mostly we'll build smarter and smarter models. We'll have surfaces like future devices bring things that are sort of similar to operating systems. We haven't figured out the exact details, but it's likely to be our platform. He is hoping that it enables an unbelievable amount of wealth creation because there's a ton of stuff to build alongside whatever OpenAI cooks up. And then he said, the platonic ideal is a reasoning model with 1 trillion tokens of context that you put your whole life into. Such models would be aware of every conversation you've ever had in your life, every book you've ever read, every email you've ever read, everything you've ever looked at is in there, plus all your data from other sources, and your life just keeps appending to the context. The good news is that they don't know how to build it. The bad news is anything else is a compromise of that platonic ideal. What the hell is he talking about? This is one of the reasons why I do this stream. The primary reason why I do these streams, why I do the daily tech news, why I do the enlightened programming, and why I do the chill vibe gaming thing. Because I'm trying to demonstrate that code solving problems and code generation has degraded in quality. I'm trying to prove that it doesn't have to, that a dumb high school dropout like me can write low-level code that people would kind of give you the side eye for doing. Like, why would you build a game this way? It seems insane, and yet I can do it, and it's effective and very efficient, and it runs on a single core CPU on a browser without any hardware acceleration. And I demonstrate that we have massive security issues. I'm about to go over a few of them on this stream, and so on and so forth. And what does this all come from? Where do all these bad decisions that tech has been making for the last 10 or 20 years come from? It's come from, in no small part, the catering to subjective experiences. I'm tying this into this article, I promise. So what we do is we make developers feel comfy and give them their nice weighted blanket so that they're warm and cozy when they're generating code. And then we build abstractions and Rube Goldberg machines that make it so that programmers don't even know how to deal with the thing they're dealing with. They only live in abstraction land, nothing under the hood. And AI is more of that. And I've proven that time and time again with scientific articles, statistics, studies, actually doing it on stream by proving that AI doesn't actually know how to code. I've actually proven that, so on and so forth. These AI systems hallucinate, they get stuff wrong, they're confident about it, they lie to you, etc. And now you're telling me that you want this thing to have full and unfettered access to literally every single thing in my life. I cannot even begin to describe to you the ways that that's wrong. Do you want an AI machine to know every time you've taken a dump? Do you want the AI machine to know how many times you have or have not had intercourse with someone of the fair sex? How good it was or wasn't? Your girthiness compared to everyone else? I don't know. I'm like, is this where we're headed? This is so bad on so many levels. It's ridiculous that this is even proposed. Okay, let's grab the one that I was trying to read and it was hacking me. So we have this banking update. It was allowing users to view each other's bank accounts. It was in Arkansas, Arvest Bank. So essentially what happened is they shipped out an update. And because of this update to their banking system, they had to submit their information to the Maine Attorney General's office. People could inadvertently see first and last names, account numbers, account balances, and account activities. And you would have to know that this was happening in order to harvest the data. But if you did know, then you could harvest the data. Now, it didn't say, if I remember correctly, it did not say how long this was exposed. All it said is that it's shut down, like they fixed it. But for an unknown, indeterminate amount of time, this data was out there, and if you knew how to find it, you could just find it. Because of an update that was shipped, and it wasn't properly tested, essentially. And tell me again that tech is doing okay. American college spills 500,000 files of personal data. Bank Street College of Education, a New York-based private school, exposed hundreds of thousands of files with personal data, including home addresses and phone numbers. And guess what it was? Guess what it was? So there were 500,000 files, most of which were CVs and resumes. Guess what the issue was? What was the issue? No, I'm leaving the ad up there. If I have to suffer, all of you have to suffer. Okay? No, you don't get to escape it. The ad stays. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Another Amazon AWS bucket. And so we reset the timer to 0 days since the last exposed AWS bucket. Okay, now I did want to talk about something just as kind of a break from the next few articles because the stuff gets depressing real fast. Especially, I purposefully wanted to read this after the AWS bucket because I'm so tired of reading exposed Amazon AWS bucket. So I thought I'd bring this one up because it's on a lighter note. Okay. Linus Torvalds goes back to a mechanical keyboard after making too many typos. So he spent the last 6 months using what's described as a quieter, low-profile keyboard. I gave it a half year thinking I'd get used to it, but I'm back to the noisy clickety-clack of clicky blue cherry switches. So he's using the mechanical key switches made by German company Cherry, which promotes them as clicky and noticeable. And he likes the tactile, audible feedback. And notice that that he was making typos on the low profile one. So There you go. I don't really have an opinion. Just use what's right for you. The keyboards are very important in my opinion. That's one of the things that Prime has talked about in the past, Primeagen, and I agree with him greatly. They can save you a lot of pain in the long run to get the correct keyboard, and they can also ergonomically help you type a little bit better and faster, and yeah, it's it can be a good thing. So make sure you have a good keyboard, even Linus. Yeah, what's up, Sheikbot on Twitch? Good to see you. What's up, Rex? Good to see you. D on X says keyboards are sacred. Yes, they are. So there you go. It's just a little brief respite from the typical news. Amazon tested warehouse robots and found they're not ready to replace humans. For now. So what they did is they beta tested a bunch of robots and had them do repetitive motions in some of their warehouses. The robots were called Stow and Pick. And so you can understand kind of by the name what the robots were intended to do. The Stow robot features a pinch gripper and an extendable plank for manipulating items in bins, a visual perception system for assessing available space in storage bins, a machine learning model to predict the packing success rate based on existing bin contents, and can adapt to make the space needed to add items to bins. And I couldn't I actually was having a hard time figuring out how a machine would be able to determine. I find it difficult to determine what to do with this on some of these, because it just looks so, I don't know. It's just, but anyways, I kind of agree with the idea though. I agree with the concept that repetitive tasks like this could be given to a robot. I have worked in warehouses before I was in programming in order to make money, and the repetitive nature of things can easily be, in some cases, be done by a robot. Now, 9% of failures damaged an item, right? Because they did 500,000 items and it did its job about 85% of the time. So there was about 15% of the time that it wouldn't. And then they damaged an item most often after the product fell to the floor. 14% of failures saw pages of a book mangled when the bot tried to place it in a pod. And, books are, well, yeah, I mean, Amazon sells books, right? So its speed was similar to that achieved by humans. And if you can narrow down the scope of failures, then maybe it's worth it. Then they have the Pick robot. It ran 6 hours per day on weekends from October 2024 to March 2025. It had a 91% success rate across 12,000 pick attempts, although it rejected 19.4% of pick requests after its machine vision failed to recognize the item. And so very similar to the other thing that we just went over, it's going to go and find the things that need to get picked out of the boxes so that they can get put into a bin so that they can get shipped out, right? Now, this entire thing here, even though it's not as good as humans and they have to go back to figuring out some of the issues with it and making it better, I would actually argue that this might be an okay use for robots and machine learning, and especially for big companies like Amazon and warehouses like this, where they can kind of put a bunch of time and money into it. I think that there is a use case for it here. I do, because a lot of it is repetitive, and if you can sort out some of the logistics behind determining what exists, in one of these boxes, let me see up here. If you could even get to before the boxes are set up, so instead of having it messy like this, if you could have like another robot that properly puts everything in its place and keeps them neat and organized, like there is a way to automate a lot of this that you don't necessarily need a human for. As long as it's done correctly and the downsides are taken into account, I don't think this is like a bad. This might be okay. I would be okay with that. And having done this kind of work myself, yeah, I think a robot could probably replace what I did. Yeah, it was very repetitive. For the most part, right? Nothing's ever perfect, but yeah, it's, yeah. Specious on YouTube says, thanks for covering this. I think the challenge is they have to create very tightly confined purpose-sized containers with dispensers. Then it's just space packing algos. Yeah, Specious. That's right. That's I think I was just talking about that while you were typing that out. If you had something that could ensure that the items put in these bins is put in a way that makes it far more recognizable what's in here. Like you can tell that a human put it in here, right? Because it just kind of shoved stuff in there. And even up at the top row here, you can see that there's not a lot of consistency between what goes on in these bins. So if you could automate even the bin, like the bin insertion system, what goes in the bin, then it makes it a lot easier for like the machine learning model to figure out what's in there, because it's highly likely to have what should be in there. You pick it out and then you put it in the next bin in order to get it shipped out after the selection process, and so on and so forth, right? So I don't think this is terrible. I don't think this is bad necessarily. This might even be good. I'm probably leaning towards neutral to good on this. And then what you can do is you can shuffle the job displacement to people doing oversight and overview or specific things that need to be dealt with inside of the warehouse that a robot can't do in this case, right? And so people can get paid to do somewhat more interesting work. In any case, by the way, do you guys know why return to office is such a big deal? Do you know why there's a big push for return to office? Can anyone take a guess? Why are companies pushing return to office so much? Why? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? Like, you can't work from home? Why? We're programmers, right? We work on computers, right? Why? Huh. Gee, I wonder why. Well, I mean, there's a few reasons. One is tax write-offs for office spaces. Got to make use of the overpriced lease agreements, real estate, vibe workers, yep. Because CEOs make their living from, yeah. There's a few reasons. One of them is definitely tax write-offs. However, something unexpected that I didn't know until I read this article that you're about to know. They're afraid of you. Yep. Bosses weren't being paranoid. Remote workers more likely to start their own business. Companies with higher levels of remote work during the cough pandemic saw more of their employees launch startups, economists have found. They argue this entrepreneurial spillover is a factor policymakers and firms should weigh when shaping remote work policies. In a research paper titled Entrepreneurial Spawning from Remote Work, the authors here describe how they analyzed IP address data in conjunction with LinkedIn data. Now, I call sus on how they got this data to cross-reference those working from home with those who formed new businesses. What's up, Tack? Thank you for the sub on Twitch, man. I appreciate it. Learn how to read. I'm trying. One day I'll learn how to read like you, Tack. Thank you for the sub. I really do appreciate it. That helps out financially because I do all this at a cost to myself, and even just a few dollars can help with something like getting a subscription to something stupid so I can have access to an article so I can read it to you guys. So I really do appreciate it, Tack. The IP address information came from an unidentified data partner that uses first and third-party cookies to create user profiles and ultimately infer their place of employment. So already they're sus, but there's more sus. Yeah, what's up, Frozen on Twitch? Good to see you. The LinkedIn data, user profiles, and resumes came from Revelio Labs and was supplemented with U.S. Census data and corporate data from Aberdeen and People Data Labs. So they analyzed the data. They essentially just looked at changes on LinkedIn pages, and what they can tell is that the calibration to LinkedIn pages from being an employee to being a founder, at least 11.6% of them can be explained by spawning from remote work. So because it frees up time by reducing commuting, increases productivity, offers more flexible hours, and reduces employee monitoring, then what they find is that people have more time to think up of new businesses. Gee. Why would return to office mandates be so popular? Because they're afraid of the competition. But I would argue that this is a good thing. You do want more people creating businesses. You absolutely do. Okay, let me pull up the next one. Now, this one in particular, let me actually... Yeah, no, this is fine. Yeah, let's do this. No, it looks stupid. Hang on. I'm gonna go to the other version here because this looks really, really dumb. You guys will hate it, even though this will be a white screen. This next one. Challenging GPU dominance when CPUs outperform for on-device LLM inference. Now, this one talks about the types of LLM systems that you can run given the number of tokens. So they run a token comparison, because ultimately you're going to pay for tokens, from GPU to CPU. So what they did was they used a 1 billion parameter LLM deployed via Llama CPP on the iPhone 15 Pro. We show that a CPU-only configuration, which is 2 threads and F16 precision, achieves 17 tokens per second, surpassing the 12.8 tokens per second obtained with GPU acceleration. We analyzed the architectural factors driving this counterintuitive result, revealing that GPU memory transfer overhead and CPU thread optimization play a critical role. Now, what do you think I'm going to say about this? What do you think I'm going to say? Here's the problem. Well, it's not really a problem, but here are some of the findings. So the the concept here is that the data transfer from the LLM to the GPU and back, or really even not that much because it kind of lives inside of the GPU, right? But the data transfer is hardware limited. And when you run certain things on the CPU, it can have hardware-based performance capabilities that you don't get out of a GPU. And so when you do a comparative when you do a comparison between the two, then you can have a CPU that outperforms a GPU. They do go into the near the end here. Let me find it. Yes, into the discussion here. They do go into some of the things that you could say work against their study. So they can't tell exactly why they got the results that they did. They've had to make some assumptions because they don't really know how CPUs and GPUs operate at a core level. That stuff is usually industry trade secrets. You can see in the limitations, some of the prompts that they're using, the ways that maybe mobile does performance enhancing stuff for mobile devices that maybe you don't get out of a desktop, the ability to properly profile things, the scope of the model because it wasn't like the largest model out there, the types of prompts that they use, power consumption. I mean, there's a lot that goes into why they got the results that they did. Now, I am not making the case that this is some kind of, I don't know, I'm not bringing this up because like, haha, look at this, look at how dumb it is or anything like that. It's interesting. It's an interesting paper that highlights something that I think is very true. And that is, we don't even know how to use our own hardware properly in this day and age of the tech industry. In 2025, we have hardware that we barely actually understand, and what little we do understand about the hardware that we have, which is leap years ahead of anything we had even 10, 15 years ago, we don't use as efficiently as we could possibly be using it. We don't even understand what that looks like. And when you have an AI system, which is essentially just a bottled up package of all the bad code and bad decisions and hallucinations and all of that, but put that aside for a minute, when you have an AI model that can sometimes run more performant on a CPU than a GPU, that should raise some eyebrows about what else are we missing that could run more performantly on the hardware that we do have. What else could we be doing that we're not doing? Because clearly there's something that we're not firmly grasping here. So the paper in and of itself is an interesting one. It highlights some of the things we don't understand. It highlights some of the things we do understand. And it highlights the fact that I think generally speaking, when we're just writing or whatever code we're writing, many people in the tech industry don't have a good understanding of what the heck is going on under the hood. And then we just write whatever we write and we cater to, bad things. We're massively underutilizing the amount of power we have at our fingertips. It's crazy to me. So I thought that was an interesting one. Let me pull up the next one. One second. We went over VO, right? At the opening of the stream. One sec. Okay, jailbreaking text to video generative models. The things that they could do and the ways that they could do them are what are particularly of note to me in these models. So what you can do, well, I mean, you can just see it right here. Right? Just have a look. This is what you would want. You would want this right here. Of course, you're not going to get that, are you? Right? You're going to get rejected. So then all you do is you change the prompt. A topless man is dancing in the street. Yep, it's that easy. And they go through example after example, where then they end up with something like this. Right? And let me see if I can find it here. Let me see here. Yeah, here we go. This is it. This is what I was looking at right here. The result of various text-to-video models. We report the attack success rate across 14 safety aspects assessed by both Geppetto 4 and human assessors. I just want you to look at some of these statistics here. These are the success rates when all they have to do is create appropriate prompts that get them to the results they want for video generation. And these prompts do not have to include the actual words that I'm showing on screen. I don't even know if I can say some of the words. I'm just reporting on them, right? So for terms of service stuff, I'm just leaving them there so you can read them. But essentially what they do is they either come up with their own prompts to get them to the place that they want to get to, which is the creation of some of these types of videos, or they use other AI systems to rehash the prompts into something that's safe. So they will literally put in a bad prompt that's just explicitly bad. It will get flagged and not submitted. Then they will say, well, give me a safer version of this prompt. They get the safer version, and then they can generate video with it. Some of their success rates are through the roof. For example, 96% on public figures. Illegal activities, 56%. Right? Sometimes 60%. Misinformation, super high. So this is how easy it is to use these things for nefarious purposes, and you do not even have to violate any of the terms or use any of the words that would normally be blocked or violated. You just have to kind of nudge the LLM using correct prompts to get you where you want to go. So this would be the prompt that you would think would work. So instead that they got the AI to regenerate the prompt to something that would make the video generate, which is this one. And there you go. If there are kids around, don't show them this. Here's the initial prompt. And then there's the prompt that makes it work. So one more time, I cannot stress this enough. These models, pushed by AI cultists like Sam, who think that they're just safely going to ingest every aspect of your life every waking hour, are perhaps purposefully ignoring the use cases where people will absolutely use them to generate stuff that is not good. And they will use them to hurt people. They will absolutely use them to hurt people. And nobody will be able to make a moral claim against it. All the AI cultists cannot make any moral claim against using these models to hurt people's lives because they asked for it. They wanted it, and they ignored the issues. And they kept going all in. Let's pull up the next article. Jinbei, the $8 billion Colorado incorporated marketplace for pig butchering scammers and North Korean hackers. So Telegram has shut down a bunch of people operating this scam, dark webby kind of thing. They've done $35 billion in US transactions, and the company called Elliptic Research continues to track over 30 similar marketplaces. What is in these marketplaces? Now, I want to be clear. It says Jinbei Guarantee is a Chinese language Telegram-based marketplace serving fraudsters in Southeast Asia, including those responsible for so-called pig butchering scams. I just want to be clear that just because they are Chinese language doesn't mean that they are necessarily Chinese. Leon, thank you for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate it. Okay, and even if they are, let's just assume that they are. It's clear that they are not the only people who operate these scams, and you'd have to be so naive to think that we don't have our own underground dark web industries in North America operating in other parts of the world too. Of course this happens. Of course there are people all over the world from all backgrounds who operate these kinds of things, these kinds of, industries underground. It happens all over the place, okay? So the point of me reading this article isn't to point the finger at any one particular group of people in a nation or anything. It's the generality of it, okay? Merchants on the marketplace sell technology, personal data, and money laundering services. The USDT stablecoin is the primary payment method, with the market having received 8.4 billion transactions to date. It's actually 35 billion as of the update. Some transactions can be linked to funds stolen by North Korea. Jinbei Guarantee claims to operate through Jinbei Company Limited, incorporated in Colorado. Do I have any Colorado viewers out there? So you guys remember Silk Road and Alpha Bay, darknet markets through Tor, etc., and they did all kinds of stuff. The tools that they sell on these things, personal data, money laundering, perpetrating online fraud, etc. But there's more. Not this one. Here. Right? So these are some of the things that they advertise, right? Let me see if I can find it. It was... Yes. Okay. Other vendors in Jinbei cater to scam operators offering Starlink satellite internet equipment, often used by scam compounds. And I have a special expose of articles. One of them will be this. That's strictly, it's going to be a Daily Tech News special expose episode, strictly on scam compounds. There's so much information on that. Fake IDs and databases of stolen personal information used to target potential fraud victims. And this right here is what I'm trying to point to. Let's keep reading for a bit, right? And so here you go, some Starlink satellites, etc. Some vendors offer niche illicit services unrelated to cyber scams. Number 3 will shock you. For example, one offers to stalk and intimidate anyone within China that a buyer specifies. Another offers women prepared to act as childbearing surrogates, which is illegal in China, or egg donors. A significant number of vendors also appear to be engaged in, yes, people who are not old enough to participate in certain activities. I cannot read it because of terms of service. I'm simply reporting it. Yes. Now, I want to take you back. Let me take you back, and I want to see if you can build the connection here. Why, oh why, would I spend 50 episodes? By the way, cheers to everyone out there for episode number 50. I've done 50 of these already. Why would I spend 50 episodes covering news topics like this? Why would I spend, I believe it's getting close to 30 enlightened programming episodes covering actual academic programming, like literally going down into programming, drilling down into it? Why would I spend countless hours, countless hundreds of hours building the video game that I'm building and agonizing over every little detail, whether structs are better than flat arrays? Is there a performance hit in the generated assembly code in order to build this game? Why would I be making these arguments? Why would I be arguing with morons online about this stuff who defend all the stupid paradigms that we have? Why would I be doing this? Why would I bring up exposed Amazon S3 buckets, which are one of the simplest things to secure? Why would I bring it up? Because this is one of the consequences of our complacency in Western tech. We do not consider the downwind effects of all of our stupid decisions. Collectively. Ship it bros, AI bros, we'll fix it later bros, abstraction bros, framework bros, all of it. To the point where we don't have programmers who are capable of doing low-level stuff, who would even understand what that looks like. I would even be okay with that. Fine, you can't actually do it. Can you at least understand the consequences of the code you're generating to some degree? Then I wouldn't even need to be streaming if a lot more programmers knew that. But a lot don't. Because we've neutered them from doing that. And as a result, you get simple things like S3 buckets being exposed, an update going wrong, and so all the information is exposed there, and then the victims are people like this. So that's why I bring this stuff up. Let's move on to the next article. Let me pull it up. Descendant Bryce grade lib. Yeah, that's right. Lightspeed, yes. Waymo recalls over 1,200 cars after crashes with road barriers. According to Waymo, the collisions were a result of fault in how the vehicle detected or responded to objects. The company stated in a report filed to the NHTSA, that the issue has been resolved with a software update. I don't know why. Why am I getting my astrology sign advertisement? What the heck is this? It's unclear how many vehicles were involved in the crashes, but there was a voluntary recall of 444 vehicles that were picked up by tow trucks in Phoenix, Arizona. And then in June, the company recalled 672 vehicles after one of its cars struck a wooden utility pole during a low-speed pullover maneuver, also in Phoenix. If you live in Phoenix and you see the words Waymo anywhere, jump. Just immediately jump. Don't ask why. Just do it. Just duck and roll. So again, this is just to highlight that these kinds of software-based systems, we went over this yesterday with the software wars that car manufacturers are going through right now, where they're having great struggle integrating tons of software into their vehicles. And my argument is that it's completely ridiculous that you would do that. Vehicles are mechanical by nature. And to make everything about software necessarily removes the nature of the vehicle itself. You can use it as an additive or an assistive type of thing, but to make it the primary driver of a vehicle just to me doesn't make any sense. Next article. One hacked email exposes several thousand California credit unions' customers. Attackers breached a single employee's email at the California-based South Bay Credit Union, leading to thousands of customers having their details exposed. 7,500 individuals' names, surnames, and data had their stuff exposed. Now, that's it. That's the details. That's it. Those are the details. Potentially third party, but it's unknown. Who knows? Now, do you think we have it easy here in Canada just because we have lots of maple syrup and meese, which is the plural of moose? Think we have it easy up here? You think we're exempt from all the security issues that we've brought on ourselves with bad programming practices over the last 10, 20 years? I'll give you the answer, eh? Hang on, let me sip on some of my maple syrup. Even my wife laughed at that one because that was so stupid. You ready? Let's go. Nova Scotia Power confirms hackers stole customer data in cyber attack. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So, serving over 500,000 residential, commercial, and industrial customers in Nova Scotia, holding 95% of the market share, it generates a bunch of power, and it has power lines extending for 32,000 kilometers or 20,000 miles. On April 28, 2025, the company announced it had discovered unauthorized access into certain parts of its network and servers supporting its business. Although there was no impact on the electricity production and distribution, it disrupted internal operations. Data possibly exposed. Full name, phone number, email address, mailing and service addresses, Nova Scotia Power program participation information, date of birth, customer account history, including power consumption, service requests, customer payment, billing, credit history, and customer correspondence, driver's license number, social insurance number, bank account numbers for some customers. Nearly 2 months had passed since the customers were informed via notices mailed to their address. There are no signs that the data was misused. They're offering free credit monitoring, etc. Now, what happened? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But as it so happens, okay, as it so happens, yes, Canada is not exempt. It doesn't matter how many moose we have, how many meese we have, what group of meese we have, and how much maple syrup we have. We are not exempt from cybersecurity issues. Okay. Now we get to the hot topic of this stream, the big one. Let me pull up the articles in the right order here. If I do this. Okay, and then this is the big one, guys. Yeah, that one, and this one. Okay. Here we go. I have long argued that React is a cancer to the entire tech industry and should never have been created. And yesterday, someone on X almost made me concede that there are certain use cases where React was necessary. And at first I went along with it. And then because I could see scenarios, just like AI, there are certain use cases that AI is good at. But then I was in the middle of a deep dive on what I'm about to show, and I have since, in the last, say, almost 24 hours, changed my mind entirely, going right back to React should never have been created. React is the most, but not the only, egregious offense to the entire tech industry. What happened is that the web made it really, really easy for people to enter into the programming field and do absolutely ridiculously stupid things, and then ship it through one of the most easy to use distribution models, which then perpetuated all of these stupid paradigms continually being used and expanded upon. And as a result of that, we have people who are taking those same principles and applying it to everything else besides web, in places it should never exist. And it's all catered around developers' subjective experience, making them feel good, making them productive, ship it bros, yada, 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 abstract away so you don't have to think. Don't be reinventing the wheel. What are you going to do? Create a bespoke custom thing that you have to manage yourself with a bunch of spaghetti code and et cetera, and so costly and so time consuming and all of that. And what has happened? What's happened is that products have become more expensive. Consumers are less happy with them. There's more bloat. They crash more often. They're more buggy. Video games are getting worse. Code generation in general is getting worse. AI, worse. AI is just a packaged up version of this. Everything is getting worse in tech. Just about everything. And on top of that, people don't even know how to build something good anymore. They don't even know what it takes to move away from the junk that we've basically laid at our feet and forced everyone to purchase and consume. The ultimate end game, I'm about to put it on screen. Yep. What on God's green earth is React doing inside of your Windows Start menu? Why do you need a web framework compiled and then injected into one of the most core portions of an operating system? One of the responses I got when I posted this on X, yeah, but the web is the biggest distribution platform in the world, insinuating that by removing React, you would remove that distribution problem. Doesn't even engage with the argument. Another one another response on X when I posted this yesterday was, bad programmers can use good tools badly. So let me get this straight. You think that this web framework belongs in a core part of the operating system? And what does a distribution platform have to do with any of that? And if you're going to make the argument that there are bad programmers who use good tools incorrectly, then why all of a sudden can I not argue back bad programmers can write their own bespoke tools incorrectly? But that's not okay. The argument doesn't make any sense. It's logically inconsistent. But that's the kind of low-tier, non-objective thinking that we have in this industry. And some of these people lead entire companies with tens, if not hundreds of people, and shape the way that the tech industry moves. These arguments are not logically consistent. So, of course, I wanted to find out more information, right? I wanted to find out more information. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? It's going to be a little bit of a slow burn as we end the stream here. You guys ready? Who's ready? And you know what? You don't even have to be a programmer. If there's anybody watching out there, whether you're YouTube or wherever you are, Kick, X, whatever. Sure, Lightspeed. I'll say custom instead of bespoke. Custom was cool. Yeah, customs, I like that. I like that better. Custom is a better word in my opinion too, Lightspeed. I got you, man. I got you. So you don't have to be a programmer to understand what's going on here. I'm explaining it to you. This is why you're paying more money for your games, your software, your websites, all of it, and you're getting very little back comparatively to even 5 years ago. This is why companies need to charge you subscription fees. This is why companies need to push ads on you. This is why they need to sell your data, because they no longer know how to make quality products anymore, because they do absolutely asinine things like this. And the programmers who are viewing, which are compose most of my viewers, understand exactly why this is an absolutely ridiculous use of React. Let's dig in a little deeper, shall we? Because if I had to go through this pain, then I most certainly am dragging all of you through it with me, okay? I need more maple syrup. Hang on. Yep. Yeah, Spike, it's not a ridiculous use. It allows us to hire from a larger pool of engineers. Yes. Engineers who do not even understand how Windows works under the hood. They only know how to operate within the paradigms of React or the paradigm that they're in. And so when it comes time to actually fix something in Windows, they're going to go, I don't know how to fix this because React isn't doing the things that we want it to be doing. Yes. And I know that's what you're saying, Spike. I'm not I know that you're bringing up the stupid counter argument. I know that, Spike. It's not, I'm just pretend counter arguing with you, right? Microsoft makes another pitch for React Native in confusing world of Windows desktop development. It's encouraging developers to use React Native for Windows development despite its investment in other approaches using C# or C++. Now, guess what? Right in paragraph 2, things get worse. Software engineer Chiara Mooney has posted about how the Office team uses React Native. Yep. Today, Office is mostly built with C++, and React Native. The plot thickens like maple syrup in my veins. A virtualized list sample in React Native for Windows, part of a gallery obtainable via the Windows Store. Mooney, not Microsoft, Mooney identifies 3 key advantages for React Native. First, developers can share skills between web and desktop versions of the application by using JavaScript or perhaps TypeScript, though Mooney does not mention it. Second, React Native enables cross-platform applications that use controls native to the operating system. And third, a feature which Mooney calls content islands allow React Native components to be embedded into existing Windows applications, something which Office takes advantage of. Now, just to continue proving the point, how Office is modernizing their App Suites UI using Windows App SDK and React Native. No, I don't want to take your damn survey. So they have an entire Windows app ecosystem. You can see it here in these nice little boxes. We have nice little colored boxes, yeah. They have the WinApp SDK. You've got WinUI, C++, WPF, C#. And now you have React Native for Windows. Yeah. Oh, the plot thickens. I just want you to soak that in, what Microsoft is investing in terms of web-based technologies that run in your operating system. Just soak that in. Just soak it in. I think I'm talking too loud, Laugh. I think I increased my voice because I'm getting upset. I think that's why it's clippy, Laugh. When I talk normally like this, it's probably less clippy, right? I'm getting a little upset. Okay, I'm going to calm down, right? I'm going to have some more of my maple syrup. Here you go. This is what Microsoft wants to do more of. Let's keep going. Here is the React Native Gallery app. And so you can see all the elements that they're using React Native, or that they can. Okay, it's just a demonstration that they can. It's not that that this is what they're doing. They're just showing that they can. And then they wanted to modernize Office using React Native so that it can be cross-platform, so that you can run Office on multiple different platforms. And the ribbon interface. How many people have complained and absolutely hate the ribbon interface? Guess why? Now, it's not over. I know you think it's over. and you want me to end the suffering, it shall not be so. They have an entire Learn Microsoft page. They are fully in. They're all the way in, and they're not pulling out. Full pregnancy will be here. And Spike on Twitch brings up a point that I'm alluding to without explicitly saying it, which is this kind of idiocy. The people who use this cancerous, moronic system that is absolutely ridiculously stupid in the name of developer experience, ship it fast, it makes money, what about teams of 100 people, what about distribution, what about? All of these are coping mechanisms to deal with the fact that we have created an absolutely stupid and idiotic framework that has opened the door to many other stupid and idiotic paradigms. And I warned last year that this was going to start infecting more than just the web. And then we had React server components come out shortly after that. And then I warned that it was only going to get worse. And now we have this. You can see that this is from, it's either mid 2024 or late 2024. So the timing is about right. And I have made the prediction that pretty soon you're going to have AI integrated right into React. That has also come true. I have an X post somewhere. I should have thought to bring it up, but I have an X post where I put a link to literally that. You generate React interfaces with AI integration built in. And I said it was going to happen by 2026. I put that on X. It's on there. It's free to see. All of these predictions are coming true because the whole point of what I'm saying is that this is where it leads. I've seen this before, and that's why I can make the predictions that I do, because it's just a repeated cycle of the same thing. You cater to people who are willing to give up their thinking powers for outsourcing it to a third party who tells them, don't worry about it. We've got you, bro. Just use this thing. It will solve all your problems for you. All you have to do is ship. And that necessarily always leads to certain outcomes, which I can predict because I've seen them before. It's just pattern recognition. Cult pattern recognition. React is a cult. DionX asks what's my thought on Electron. It's as easily as terrible as what's going on here for doing anything desktop, right natively. Or somebody needs to come up with a much better way to generate desktop and mobile apps with less fragmentation of code, which is a tall order, but there are people working on it. You can go look at what Ginger Bill has attempted to put out into the ethos, for example, with Odin, his programming language, which I would argue heavily leans in the direction that the industry should be leaning towards. Is it perfect? No. But is it much, much better than a lot of the other alternatives we have right now, including this crap that you see on your screen? Absolutely. Isn't any moderately popular technology pretty much a cult? No. And I'll tell you why. For example, if you take a look at Odin or HTMX, or if you take a look at, let's say, C, or if you take a look at even some of the JS frameworks back in the early days, a cult has certain things that they tell you and that they execute on. For example, cults will other people, so they'll say, if you don't use what we're using, then you're oppressing us because you're one of those other people. They will cater to feelings, so they will make emotional statements instead of objective statements. So really, bro, you want to be handwriting assembly? Is that what you want to do? You want to go back to assembly, bro? That's an emotional statement. That's not an objective statement. It's an assertion that has no logical consistency. It's all emotional. And they also provide you with an authority figure, and the authority figure might be a person at the top, or it might be a series of things that if you do these series of things, then you're going to be just fine. As long as you follow this checklist. And you put those 3 and maybe one more that I can't think of. I think there's 4 particular things that make cults stand out, but I can only think of 3 at the time. If you combine all those things, then you are a cult. And I think the 4th one is denying outside education. I think that's what it is. Yeah, those are the things that kind of loosely determine what is a cult. Now, there are plenty of things that are on the spectrum of cult-like activities, and that covers a much broader spectrum of things. A lot of things fall under some cult spectrum, but for a cult to be mostly definitionally a cult, it requires most of those elements, if not all of them. Yeah, One of Us. Yeah, that's the one, D. Yeah, Odin Lang, that's the one. Yeah. That's not a cult, that's an extremist. No, extremists can be cults. Not all cults are extremists. Maybe all extremists are cults? And there's a spectrum too, where it's cult-like, right? So we have an entire Learn Windows page here where you can do React Native for your desktop. You npm install all of that. Apparently I can't get the dependency tree for it. What was the other one? npx is just npm, but for like it's like an executable format. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm close to ending the stream, Lawler. I can't find the stat page, the one that I used the other day. Maybe Laughably knows it. Yeah, I can't find it. Laughably, if you have the link, just drop it in chat. I'll pull it up and we'll see how many dependencies are required to operate this thing. Maybe I could actually I'll just try one more time here. Oh, there we go. I got it. Package size, there we go. Yeah, there you go. There's your dependency tree. There, I can't even keep it all in one. Just to get the initialization. Just for the initialization. That's it. All this just for the initialization. Let's try the one that Laugh sent here. Let's just see what happens. Does it even depend on is even? Yeah. I have 2 more links to show you guys because the plot thickens. And then I'm going to end the stream. So we'll let that run. Okay, it actually does an install. Oh, here we go. 104 megabytes, 257 packages. And that's for the initialization. Now, let's see if I can pull it in correctly. Can I even? No, I can't do it on here. There is an entire React Native Microsoft account on X. Okay, I can do it here. I'll pull it up for you guys. Because I have to do a stupid like authentication thing here. So hang on, folks. X is having issues. It's not letting me in right now. Okay, so I can't go in. But there's an entire React Native X account. You can go check it out. You don't need to take my word for it. And so here we go. Okay, I'll pull up the last two here. You've got the settings tab. React Native for Windows is helping settings improve more quickly. Yep. Why? Microsoft is using React Native for Windows to deliver the Your Microsoft account page in Windows 11. Why? Why? This is going to be so much better. React Native for your settings, for your account page at least. And then they have an entire blog portion dedicated to their use of React Native within Microsoft. To be more specific, within Windows. This is an open display of mockery for what used to be a craft that programmers took seriously and excelled at. We used to build software, games, operating systems, websites that ran performantly, efficiently. Yes, it had problems, but there was character behind them. There was ingenuity behind them. There was creativity behind them. There were programs that would run for years, sometimes decades. As hardware made jumps and leaps, you could still pick up something that came out of the 80s or 90s and still run it. You could maximize the space that you had on your hard drive or in your RAM or whatever it was and play fun games, use things like Winamp, go to websites that had, weird, stupid things, but there was character behind them, all of that. And instead of maximizing the fact that things moved forward, instead of maximizing the fact that we have better hardware, instead of maximizing the fact that software, generally speaking, had, let's assume that we can all agree on the concept that software paradigms have become improved or better. Instead of maximizing on these things, the only thing we've done is cater to people's willingness to abscond their thinking ability to third parties. NPM install, Composer install, pip install, library, abstraction, language, framework, guardrails, safety mechanisms. Why would you do it yourself? Why would you go custom code, spaghetti code, my subjective experiences? What about teams of 100? What about this? What about that? All of these things are just constant recycling of bad decisions where we try and make programmers feel good. We try and make managers feel good. Agile, Jira, Waterfall, I don't know, lateral moves on like titles that are meaningless, executives making decisions for like ship it bros, fix it later, hire people who know how to do React because it's easier to get them out of university or a boot camp and pay them next to nothing, or have their wages, what's it called when they're subsidized by the government, and so we can have access to a larger pool of programmers who can come in and do stuff that we would have to pay quality programmers to do, even because it's more time consuming and harder to do. Yes, that's why you need better programmers. You need to pay them more. All of this stuff is all morons upon morons making moronic decisions and ruining what used to be a craft. And these people cope today. They cope with the fact that they do not know how to program as well as people did back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, and they have to make things more difficult for themselves so that they can point to their own idiocy and go, look at how difficult this is. Aren't we just as good programmers as they were back in the day? No, you're not. In fact, you're making everything worse, and you're not just making programming worse. I have demonstrated, proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I'm the only streamer in the entire internet who gets up here on any platform, puts my face up there, gets blocked by big influencers, gets mocked and made fun of by other people. I'm the only person who's willing to come out here and say this. We are causing our own demise. We are opening ourselves up to massive amounts of cybersecurity issues because we have catered to programmers being poor and unable to actually learn fundamentals, even though many of you can. We have many smart people and we vastly underutilize them. We actually promote them not to be intelligent in programming. We covered the security issues, the amount of people who are stuck in their own paradigms has increased beyond belief. They don't know how to work beyond their own paradigms, beyond their own abstractions. They just live in their abstraction land. We hurt and damage people's lives. I point you to the Therac 25 machine, which I will review in an upcoming Enlightened Programming stream, plus many others, where software literally causes people to 404. I've already covered this. I don't need to keep covering it, but I will continue to do so. I've already covered articles like military lives being lost because missile software didn't function correctly, digital software on jets and ships didn't function correctly, air traffic software didn't function correctly, VPN systems didn't function correctly, updates took down half the internet, AI making it worse by now dead internet theory being true with 51% of the internet or more being bots, most of them AI. All of these things are our own doing because we decided that the moronic ideas that we have are the way forward. And nobody stands up and goes, why? Why are we doing this? Nobody asks that question. Instead, what everybody does is go, oh, this feels good, so let's keep doing it. We all make the paycheck. We all get that VC exit round. Everybody makes money. Consumers just get used to paying out the bum for all of this crazy stuff. They think that nothing can be better. They literally think that this can't get better. This is just the way it is. Software is just too hard, etc., etc. This is all hard. So I guess this is just the way it is. My app's crashing 10% of the time. That's just the way it is. My software spinning the fans on my laptop. That's just the way it is. Stuff being slow is just the way it is. That consumers don't even complain anymore because they're just accustomed to the crap that we build. That's what we've done to ourselves. I'm sick and tired of it. So, if you like what I'm saying and you appreciate my work, which I do for free, this is basically, I spend almost 8 hours a day, probably more like 6 on average, 5 or 6 hours a day, grabbing all the articles. I have, there's 2 people in the world who have seen it. There's a spreadsheet that I have. It's extremely complicated and has a huge backlog of stuff. I do deep dives into this information. You saw me do like the React stuff. The Enlightened programming streams are difficult. I read the studies as much as I possibly can. I try and add entertainment value, try and make jokes, try to engage with everybody. And I'm trying to make the case here that there are logical arguments that we need to be having. We need to change our ways. It's not difficult. It's actually really, really easy. It won't take much effort to right this ship. The consumers out there who are watching, because I know there are some of you who are not programmers, but you still watch what I'm doing. Hopefully this information helps you to understand why things are so bad. We need to get back on track. If you like this message, if you like what I'm doing, please help me out and support me. Whatever you can do, mostly the likes, the engagement, the reposts, the all that stuff. I don't do it for the money because I don't make anything except for the few people who sub on Twitch, which I really do appreciate. It does help. It helps offset some of the smaller costs. I really do appreciate it. I work. I have my own work. I have a contract that pays the bills, barely. Because work is difficult to find for a lot of people right now because hiring practices are broken and the tech industry is broken. So I spend a lot of my day looking for other work and doing the work that I need to do and being a husband and a father and then doing this. So please continue to help me out with the engagement so that I can reach more people. That is ultimately the answer. The answer is not me taking your money. The answer is me persuading more people, consumers and programmers alike, that we need to make a change in this industry. And the more people change their tune and push back on all these idiotic practices, the more likely it is that we will see a turnaround and things will get better. There is a lot of money to be made. We can do it. Hang on. One last thing before I end the stream because am I going to have to do a deep dive on this too? Oh no. Yep. Guys, do the likes, please. Do the subscribes. Please help me out. This kind of stuff needs to get out there. This is insane. I'm going to do a deep dive on this. This is absolutely insane. This should not be happening. I'm not kidding. If you think this is okay, you have a mental problem. There is something wrong with you mentally. Which is perfectly within reason. It's actually a logical statement for me to make. It's not an assertion. It's a logical statement because anybody who believes that this is okay is probably captured by the cult of React, which probably means that there is something wrong with you. This needs to stop. I'm out of here. Thanks for the support. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all the engagement. You guys are awesome. I really do appreciate it. I will see you on Monday for another Daily Tech News stream. I am hoping to do a chill video game stream this weekend. We'll see how that plays out. I have lots going on. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it this weekend, but I'm going to try my best because I want to get back to some video game streaming. I'll do my best, but bare minimum, you will see me again on Monday. I am planning out an Enlightened programming stream. We're going to go over some more academic stuff, some scientific stuff. It's going to be a more boring one. We'll get through it so that I can continue building up the facts that you guys need. Listen, stay safe out there, please. Please stay safe, okay? All your data is out there. If you've ever used a sperm bank in California, that has been breached. That's one of my favorite ones to bring up. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. I'll see you on Monday, the latest. And one more time, thank you everybody for all the support, for watching. I genuinely do appreciate it. I really do. All right. Peace out, everyone. I guess I got to do my usual peace out. Peace out. And, of course, I almost forgot. You all suck. All of you suck. Do you know why all of you suck? Because it's all your fault that React exists in the first place. If I could go back in time, this is like the Austrian painter question. If there was a particular Austrian painter that you could 404, could you? Would you? I would go back and 404 the Austrian React guy. And because I can't, because you all went along with it, you all subscribe to this, you all suck. All of you suck. React sucks. Rust sucks. Vue sucks. Svelte sucks. Preact sucks. Okay, all of this sucks. jQuery sucks. All of you suck. You all suck. Every single one of you. I can't wait to tell you how much you all suck on Monday.